needs saving. It will take the most elite team on Earth. Skipper, Kowalski, Rico, and Private.
We're the elitist of the elite. Up high! Whoa, hey now.
From the creators of Madagascar.
Okay, boys, this is it. The mission we've been preparing for our entire lives.
Remain calm, penguins. You are now under the protection of the North Wind.
Private, dibble me. We're not going anywhere with you. We don't even know who the heck you are.
The North Wind is an elite undercover interspecies. An elite undercover interspecies task force dedicated to help dedicated to helping animals who can't help themselves.
Skipper, we've got to be 5 miles up. That pretty much limits our options.
I make my own options.
Brilliant move, Skipper. But now we seem to be outside the plane.
Well, kind of got caught up in the moment. Well, hindsight's 20/20.
Oh, why don't we catch that plane?
Bird strike. Log it.
DreamWorks Penguins of Madagascar.
Now we're talking. Let's get to work.
400 meters. 300 meters.
Speak American, Kowalski.
Sorry, sir. 218 yards.
Okay, then. It's clear what we need to do next. Yeah, baby.
That feels right.
Welcome to Time About the Movies, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving weekend 2014, because that's exactly what we're taking a look at. The 5 films of November 26, 2014, and we're starting off with the biggest of the new releases, which is DreamWorks' Penguins of Madagascar. This is obviously, of course, the spin-off to the Madagascar franchise, featuring the breakout stars of that series, the Penguins themselves. Super spy teams aren't born, they're hatched. Discover the secrets of the greatest and most hilarious covert birds in its global espionage biz. Skipper, Kowalski, Rico, and Private, these elitists of the elite, are joining forces with a chic undercover organization in the North Wind, led by handsome and husky Agent Classified, played by Benedict Cumberbatch, and together they must stop the villainous Dr. Octavius Brine, voiced by John Malkovich, from destroying the world as we know it. So, we're going to touch on another franchise film later on in the movie, and I'll just tell you, it's a lame, really bad movie, but if that's the case, this is the complete opposite. For what it is. I mean, let's get something straight right off the get-go. The plot for this movie is one of the stupidest plots I have ever heard in my life. I mean, but here's the thing. The movie, I think, is very much aware of that fact, and the fact that this film has that they make fun of it, and it's definitely working to the film's advantage. It has that unique charm to it that is just so goddamn entertaining. I enjoyed the hell out of this movie. This movie is so well done. It does not feel like a movie that's it doesn't feel like a Madagascar movie. It feels like its own thing with these characters from the Madagascar franchises. Because you could tell the people who made this movie took a lot of inspiration from the classic cartoons of the old days. I'm talking about Looney Tunes, Tex Avery style humor in this. The comedy and animation in this is so well done. You even see a little bit in the trailer for this how the camera just keeps moving as the scenes go on in this. And that was not in the original Madagascar, at least not early on in the series. I mean, they do a good job of, like, you see the scene where they're huddling up and you see the camera moving a little bit here. And I think that's actually something that's very unique and something we hadn't seen done in the original Madagascar franchise at that point. And something that it's kind of what DreamWorks was trying to do. DreamWorks was kind of trying to advance with that. Actually, now that I think about it, they have been doing it ever since, probably How to Train Your Dragon and all that. I think that was one of the early ones where, well, again, Kung Fu Panda. Maybe I'm just talking on my ass at this point. But bottom line here is that the comedy and animation overall is very well done. A lot of high energy, a lot of moments that offer tons of great laughs. I mean, the characters are always great to see. I mean, I watched the cartoon when it was on Nickelodeon, and I love the new characters they add in this. John Malkovich playing the villain in this is so funny in this. You know, Dr. Octavius Bryan, or Dave as the film puts it. Like, he is so much fun in this. He is so over the top with this spectacular animation that they're giving him. You could tell someone definitely loved to animate this character. I mean, this is bordering on, you know, Mark Dindal villains. Like, you ever see a movie directed by Mark Dindal, like Cats Don't Dance, The Emperor's New Groove, the Garfield movie, where you could just tell that they love so much animating the villains in this. That's what it felt like watching this movie. You could definitely tell that in this film. I like the North Wind characters, too. Benedict Cumberbatch was really good playing Agent Classified. He has a lot of really good, funny moments. And I would have liked to see this. I would like to see these characters in their own spin-off movie. It's actually one of two movies Cumberbatch is in this weekend that are actually really good. We'll get to the other one later. I even like the fact that they do have a lot of great moments on the caliber of a theme park ride. You see a little bit in the trailer there, that scene where they're flying out of this plane. And it really does feel like you've entered a theme park ride at Universal, and a fun one. And I'm actually kind of surprised that DreamWorks is able to put a nice continuous tracking shot of this together. It's one long continuous tracking shot, and it's done really, really well. If there's any real flaws besides the story, the other big flaw of it is that we kind of have to resort to yet another kids movie cliche where it does feel like, you know, the little guy feels like he doesn't contribute much to the people around him. It's just like, we're going back to this again, man. I mean, we've known these characters now for nearly 10 years. I think we get the point that he's the little guy. He's the guy that, you know, not a lot of the other characters would look at and be like, you know, they think of him on the same level, even though they still really do care about him. It's just, I get it. Private was the youngest one of the group, and he's proven his worth in the past, whether it's the Madagascar movies or the TV series, but it just really doesn't feel like a subplot that needs to be there, except it has to play a part in the finale of the whole thing. But other than that, though, this is still a really, really fun movie. I actually like it a little bit better than the original Puss in Boots, and the lesser of the DreamWorks animated films this year. It's definitely the lesser of the DreamWorks animated films this year, especially with a year that has Mr. Peabody and Sherman and How to Train Your Dragon 2, but there's still more than enough for this movie to be seen as a really fun movie all across the board. Enough great comedic moments, spectacular animation, great characters to make it a very well entertaining and well-made spin-off film. It's a really good fun time at the movies overall. Not one I don't think is going to be as memorable as some of DreamWorks' other works, but still a ton of fun to watch. And again, kind of like what I touched on in the last episode, it's one of those movies where I really wish DreamWorks didn't swap this around with Home, because we're going to get to Home in March, but I'll tell you, Home is one of their worst movies overall, but they put it in March because it's an original franchise. They're trying to launch a new franchise with that, and it did well enough, but we never got that second movie overall. I really do feel like that movie should have been out on Thanksgiving, and Penguins of Madagascar should have been released in that slot, because I really wanted that movie to do a whole lot better than this actually did when it came out on Thanksgiving. I mean, you put it out on Thanksgiving at a time when you have Big Hero 6, you've got The Hobbit coming up in a couple of weeks, you got all these other big family movies. It really did feel like DreamWorks was trying to bury this, but, I mean, I don't know, maybe that's just my thinking behind it, but this is still a really good movie. I really enjoyed the hell out of it. I think it's a ton of fun. I can't recommend this one enough. Penguins of Madagascar is a ton of fun. So let's go ahead and take a look at another franchise film that came out this weekend, and one that basically just decided, who cares about being original or creative for the second film? Let's just redo what worked in the first film. Horrible Bosses 2.
Betrayed a kidnapping.
Guys, the team's back together!
You're all
Morons!
I'm not hearing this. Is he being nice to us?
a little standoffish so far.
You assaulted me. Mercilessly.
Holy Fight Club himself! We got a Fight Clubber!
I'm gonna go freshen up, all right?
Oh, save me a shake.
First time on the slopes, so I'm gonna stay off the Black Diamond.
Horrible Bosses 2, rated R.
No, really, this is the textbook definition of a Here We Go Again sequel, because it is literally the same plot as the first movie. Fed up with answering to higher-ups, Nick, Dale, and Kurt, once again played by Jason Bateman, Charlie Day, and Jason Sudeikis, decide to become their own bosses by launching their own businesses. But a slick investor, played by Christoph Waltz, soon pulls the rug out from under them. Outplayed and desperate and with no legal recourse, the three would-be entrepreneurs hatch a misguided plan to kidnap the investor's adult son, played by Chris Pine, and ransom him to regain control of their company. And the first Horrible Bosses movie is such a solidly funny, dark comedy with a lot of great dark humor and great chemistry from its stars overall. In fact, I mean, honestly, my favorite scene in Horrible Bosses can perfectly sum up my thoughts on Horrible Bosses 2.
Learn from
Motherfucker! Fucking son of a bitch! So fucking tired!
Just imagine me being Jason Bateman in that situation, and Horrible Bosses 2 is Kevin Spacey. I mean, that's really how I felt about this movie. Because really, once you see it, you'd be mad too if you saw what Horrible Bosses 2 did. I mean, I hated this movie. I really hated this movie. It's just a bad movie. It's because it's absolutely 100% pointless. There is no reason for this to exist whatsoever because there is nothing creative about it, and it's another one of those stupid retreads of the first movie that aren't creative at all. This is a movie that is basically, let's regress the characters down from where they were at the beginning of the first to where they were in the first movie, and then let's just do the whole thing all over again. It's just like, these characters regress so hard in this movie. Like, it's like the first film never even happened. So what's the point? What's the point of doing this all over again? It's just like, it makes no sense. There is only one good thing I can say about this movie that is really good, and that's Kevin Spacey when he has those brief cameos in this movie, and every line he says in this movie is fucking hilarious. He's basically the Chevy Chase in Caddyshack 2 in this movie. He's the only one that is delivering the best lines in the movie. He's the only one that's actually trying to save it, and he knocks it out of the park. He's the one thing about this movie that makes this all the worthwhile. Other than that, they've all regressed down to where they were at the beginning of the first film. They in fact, even worse than that, because they're basically just dumbasses in this. They were actually smartly written characters in the first movie, but here, it's like the writers decided to make them stupider because, you know, we gotta create lame comedy bits. I mean, it's like what happened with Harold and Kumar with Escape from Guantanamo Bay, except even worse than that. And that's really the worst part about it, is that it's just a retread of the first movie, and literally, you can pinpoint every single thing that is going to happen from the first movie. To somebody getting mistaken for one thing, when it should be another, to them bumping off one of the characters to the big double-cross moment. Every single element from the first film is in this movie, and there's nothing about it that works whatsoever. If there's anything I can honestly say about Horrible Bosses 2, is that it's not a movie I feel offended by, like the Hangover sequels. Because the Hangover sequels, I mean, those are movies that, by the time they got to the third film, it was clear that they had no intentions on making a movie after the first film became the unexpected hit it was. I mean, Warner Brothers wanted the sequel so badly, so they said, just retread the first film again for the second movie, and then for the third film, I don't know, just throw some stuff at the wall, see what happens there, and it completely backfired big time. I mean, especially there's no point to make this film, especially not putting it out on Thanksgiving weekend. When will studios learn you don't put R-rated stuff on Thanksgiving weekend because it's not going to make any money, especially a sequel to a movie that was successful because it came out in the summertime when an R-rated raunchy comedy does well. It does not work when you put this out on Thanksgiving weekend. It barely works when you put it out on Christmas weekend. I mean, the last couple of years we've had a couple of R-rated comedies that have done well on Christmas. You know, we had Nosferatu, which was an R-rated horror film a couple years ago that did really well on Christmas. You know, but it's just like, it feels like vapor going through my head. I saw it. I barely remembered the movie when I saw it. It doesn't leave a lasting impact on me, and it was just a movie that does not need to exist. There was no reason to make a sequel to this whatsoever. This is definitely one of the worst sequels I've ever seen because it's a movie where it's just so badly put together. It's just nothing except let's just make money again and not even try to be funny. Like, the best elements from the first movie are not in this film overall. A lot of the people are back from this movie, and they have nothing to do here. There's literally nothing about this movie that makes it worth it in the end. I mean, it's just a bad movie. It's a bad movie. One of the worst sequels I've ever seen. Just a complete waste of your time and effort. And it's funny because in a couple of months' time, we're going to have another R-rated comedy sequel that seems like it shouldn't exist at all. In fact, I was going into that one in particular with not a whole lot of high expectations, and I ended up really enjoying it. I actually thought they actually did something unique and different with it overall. But we'll touch on that when we get to, I think it's either February or March when that came out, but we'll touch on that later on. But Horrible Bosses 2 is just a really, really bad sequel. It's just a really bad comedy, period, So with all that said, let's go ahead and move on back to some good movies. Another one with Benedict Cumberbatch. This is one of this year's big Oscar contenders, and that is The Imitation Game.
was on a train that went through a city that wouldn't exist if it wasn't for you.
We were going to break an unbreakable Nazi code and win the war.
It's impossible. Let me try, and we'll know for sure.
Sometimes it's the very people who no one imagines anything of who do the things that no one can imagine.
The Imitation Game, rated PG-13, now playing.
So this is a story about Alan Turing, played by Benedict Cumberbatch, and his team of codebreakers in Hut 8 racing against time as they attempt to break Nazi Germany's Enigma code at Britain's top-secret government code and cipher school at Bletchley Park during the Second World War. The group of scholars, mathematicians, linguists, chess champions, and intelligence officers have a powerful ally in Prime Minister Winston Churchill, who authorizes the provision of any resources they require. The film spans the key periods of Turing's life, his unhappy teenage years at boarding school, the triumph of his secret wartime work on the revolutionary electromechanical bomb, which was capable of breaking 3,000 Enigma-generated naval codes a day, and the tragedy of the post-war decline that he has, following his conviction for gross indecency, a criminal offense stemming from his admission of maintaining a homosexual relationship. And back then, this was the movie that everyone was saying was going to be the front runner for Best Picture at the Oscars. Everyone's saying it can't miss. It's that perfect of a movie. It's a great winner all around. And yeah, it wasn't all that great. I mean, for the most part, it's a kind of a boring movie, but not a bad movie. I mean, it's a competently made film. I'll give it that. But there were times when I was so bored by this movie. I mean, the only thing I'll give it credit for is I like Benedict Cumberbatch as Alan Turing. It's that great performance that everybody says it is. And again, it's because he's such a good actor. I mean, we touched on all of his great performances. Everything that he's been in has been really good. He's proven that he is a capable actor. And this is way before he became Doctor Strange and all that. Like, his performance to me came off as something like a mix between Daniel Day-Lewis as Christy Brown from My Left Foot and Sheldon Cooper from The Big Bang Theory. I don't know how the hell Cumberbatch is able to pull that off together, but I'll be damned if he doesn't pull it off. He's the one thing that saves this movie from being downright terrible, and I won't take that away from the film at all. The rest of it is pretty mediocre. The cast is fine, I guess, but there's nothing really memorable about them at all, and they all kind of play stock characters in this that we've seen done to death over and over and over again, and that's my biggest problem with the movie. It's clearly an Oscar bait movie, and it's not played out well at all. We've got the asshole boss and the main character played by Charles Dance from Game of Thrones. We've got the, a woman clearly can't do what us men can do cliche, the woman being Keira Knightley as Joan Clark. We have the conspiracy theory cliche, the cliche in which they're about to shut down the experiment, but get a month to try again. The cliche where nothing works and it's almost deadline time, and then there's that one thing that nobody ever brought up beforehand because it comes up, and when they do that, it works. The cliche where the woman sticks by the main character despite what he's done, and yet the main character says one thing that automatically makes him the bad guy, and worst of all, the cliche where we see flashbacks of the main character with a good friend, and the last time we see him together, it's a happy moment before we know that the best friend is gonna die. I mean, good lord, it's that type of a story. You don't have to throw in this many cliches. This has the exact same problems that were in The King's Speech. And it does almost absolutely everything The King's Speech does. It doesn't do anything new or groundbreaking with it, and the fact that it not only swept the Best Picture award when it came out that year, it got Best Director, Best Actor, Best Original Screenplay, when there were so many other better movies that year, just proves that the Oscars didn't even bother to try back then. And I know I'm just kind of rambling on with The King's Speech again, but I will say this. This one is not as bad as The King's Speech is. I still stand by The King's Speech being the worst Best Picture winner in recent memory. I'm sorry. In a year that has Black Swan, The Fighter, Inception, True Grit, Toy Story 3, any other movie released that year could have easily won Best Picture, and I would have been fine with that. They picked the worst winner of the bunch, the most generic, the most boring-ass movie ever. I'm sorry, I still get pissed off at that because it was basically Harvey Weinstein buying off the Oscars again, clear evidence it's out there, and we can't take it back anymore. And, it really felt like he was doing it again with this movie. But like I said, this one is nowhere near as bad as The King's Speech. It's a movie it's a movie that's okay. That's the best way I can really describe it, is that it's an okay movie. It's a film that wants to be great. I want to see the best possible movie Hollywood can give us, but the end result is just so bland. It's a by-the-numbers, cliched-riddled biopic that has nothing new or creative to offer, except for Benedict Cumberbatch's performance in this. Like, that's the one reason I will say, see this movie for that performance alone. This is like The Emperor's New Clothes, and the general public is the townspeople who can't see the obvious. Well, you know what? I'm the guy that's going to tell you that the Emperor isn't wearing clothes right now, and I can see his fucking dick right now. This movie is an overrated, disappointing of a film. Plain and simple. I mean, I can't remember. I couldn't remember how much that I didn't enjoy this movie. But at least like I said, I don't hate it as much as The King's Speech. I could give it a passable rating because I like the performance of Benedict Cumberbatch. I think that's the one thing that holds it together to say maybe a 3-star rating overall. But other than that, though, it's a pretty boring movie overall. So anyway, that's all I got to say about The Imitation Game, and hopefully I won't have the backlash to that than say The King's Speech. But let's go ahead and move on to. Were there only 4 movies this week? I thought there were 4. I thought there were 5. Penguins of Madagascar, Horrible Bosses 2, The Imitation Game. No, I think we only have 4 movies. I thought we had 5, but let's go ahead and take a look at that 4th and last movie, and it's the one that I think has had the lasting impact out of all the movies that we had this weekend, the horror film, The Babadook.
If it's in a word or it's in a look, you can't get rid of the Babadook.
He wants to scare you first, then you'll see it.
And it's a really good movie, too, a really good horror movie. I mean, it's a classic movie that just feels like something like this feels like a story that Are You Afraid of the Dark would have done back in the day on Nickelodeon, back when that show was on the air. So you have a story where you have a widowed single mother who, with her son, must confront a mysterious humanoid monster in their home. She finds this pop-up book called Mr. Babadook. She reads the story, and she starts realizing that these strange events are happening, and so the story essentially comes to life, and as the film goes along, you know, the mother gets possessed by the Babadook and all that, and it really does lead into a lot of tension-filled moments in here. This movie is absolutely terrifying and really well done. It's a really good movie. This director, Jennifer Kent, who makes her feature film debut on this movie, she really does a fantastic job of creating this tension-filled movie with this mother, you know, basically trying to protect herself from killing her own son when this monster takes over from her, possesses her, and it is legitimately terrifying. It is visually stunning to look at. The tension is really good. The cast overall is great. I love the design of this creature, and I just love the tension that builds up in this movie. You never know what's going to happen with this kid and all that. And, you know, I think this film did a very good job of creating a lot of high tension, creating a lot of scary, effective moments in this. I mean, this made for one of the best Treehouse of Horror segments of recent memory, the Poopadook, where Marge essentially gets possessed by this demon, in essentially a parody of that. And, you know, everyone criticizes Julie Kavner for her Marge voice being a little more raspy than usual. Well, here's a segment that actually uses that to perfection. It's so well done. And it's one of the best Treehouse of Horror moments, easily one of the best Treehouse of Horror episodes of recent memory. I mean, that's a great episode all around, but that one is absolutely fan-frickin-tastic. And this movie is fan-frickin-tastic. This is such a good movie. I can't recommend this one enough. If you haven't seen it already, definitely see The Babadook, because it is definitely well worth the watch. It's a really good, scary film. It delivers on everything it promises and then some. It's a terrific film. Seek it out if you haven't seen it, The Babadook. And so, with all that said, we wrap up another episode of Time About the Movies. Next time we meet, we head into the last month of 2014. And, of course, it's post-Thanksgiving weekend, so you know what that means. The studios are not going to bother to release anything big wide. 20th Century Fox is going to have 2 movies out this weekend, though. You know, if this wasn't bad enough for you for a lazy, generic-ass, you know, stupid white people going into places they shouldn't have gone to horror movie, then The Pyramid is definitely that and then some. But we do get at least one good movie this weekend. John Mark Valet directing Reese Witherspoon, and easily the better movie that she's in this year besides The Good Lie, Wild. So we'll take a look at both of those movies tomorrow on the show. So definitely be on the lookout for that. With all that said, though, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead and do me the honors of hitting that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification button. Also, don't forget to check out our playlist, and don't forget to check out the previous episode we did. So with all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.